situation, well, like looking through the window, you know, looking at all the goodies, you know, looking at the scene, the European scene can't quite play that much against it. Of course, Dev said he does get some playable ping, more or less, to UK, so he can actually play with the Europeans a little bit, but they generally don't have too much experience there. So I think for them that'd be an amazing result. And I think Locust and BPS, I think that's a match that they can actually take. So that would be an amazing matchup. But as you said, we're first going to kick things off here on DM4, and we've got the Aussies against Locust and BPS. This is a great map for the Swedes, both being very, very, very good on this map in 1 versus 1. They should feel right at home.
Yeah, and the way that they were playing up against Rune earlier, I mean, they certainly want to be going deeper in this tournament, so I think they'll be quite upset with themselves if they aren't able to get a bit of a victory over here. But on Aeronauts for the time being, BPS trying to hope that some armor is going to pull up, and he's just going to get telefragged there. A little bit unfortunate, and might give the Aussies a bit of a chance to get some control in this center part of the map, and then trying not to hurt his teammate.
And at this map, obviously, this is the first time I'm going to get to cast this map today.
Oh, right.
And it is such an intense map. I remember playing it, and it's so incredibly intense.
It's fast, yeah. It's just rapid, and there seems to be frags happening constantly. There's no slow moment whatsoever. But that's just, I think I've actually been able to cast it about twice now since you were last on. So yeah, this is constant.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the positioning works up on the LG level. Well, if you can get somebody with some kind of stack and with some ammo with that LG and the rockets, and you can kind of set up there with your teammate, then you can actually get a lot of frags stringing together. But to avoid that situation, you have to be perfect on every single rocket and little bit of lightning gun damage that you do. It's got to be maximized, because you'll only be alive for maybe your lifespan is very short on this map.
And we've got a bit of control over here from Locust up at the top section of the map, and BPS seem to be in perfect support right now. No dent to their stack. Even though there's only 47 health on Locust, he is doing a lot of work.
Yeah, and you can see that Locust is actually going to suicide there. And one thing that you kind of don't necessarily want to do is take the red armor in a lot of spots, because you want to stay in position in the center map, just getting the frags, basically using the position, converting it into a bigger lead, and only going for the red if you desperately need to, or it's really clear and or your teammate is so stacked that he can allow you to do that and hold it off by himself. And so we can see that actually BPS and Locust, they're allowing them to take the red and trying to cover the choke points, cover the teleporter exits. They're doing a decent job of it, but we're actually getting some damage done here by the Aussies, but they are having a hard time.
Yeah, definitely. Only 7 frags to their name at the moment. It's really been a story about Aeronauts for the time being. And as you're talking about that red, I mean, I guess because the weapons do so much damage, that is it really sort of negligible, the benefits that you get for taking the time out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to be super active and just be just dominating that middle area. And if you're not able to do that, the red is, if you can sneak a red, then you will probably lose most of it. But at least you're using up some cells of that player who has to shoot you and distracting him a little bit. Maybe you can create an opening for your teammate to do something. And you can see this kind of happening in that situation. BPS has to deal with multiple angles at the same time, but Locust is just ripping people to shreds with the LG. Yeah.
And finally getting a couple of frags. Well, I said we got 1 frag from Ben there, but when are they going to be able to string a few more together? It's just 1, and then you get about 10 frags for Aeronauts, and then, oh, there we go, another one's popped up for Dirtbox. But there's not much happening there. You need to get that center map control. And
this is, I kind of discussed it very briefly with Jahar earlier, and this map was very frustrating to learn for me, because it's very simple. It's basically a room. It's more or less just a room with a few bits on the ends there on either end. But it's so nuanced when it comes to the positional aspect and how you actually maximize your damage potential. And you have to react very, very, very quickly to all of these micro situations that change very quickly based on who is where and where they spawn, and are you standing on a spawn, are you running out of cells on your LG, can you like maintain this position. Like there's so many little things going on, and it's just so fast that that's one of the big challenges with this map and getting good at it.
Still barely wrapping my head around all of that. I think I had a total time of 1 game played, and I was a lost man there. I had no idea what was going on, and definitely the QuakeWorld veterans were showing me a thing or two.
Yeah, these guys are real specialists. And right now it's looking really, really good. And I would say this is very expected for BPS and Locust. Again, I think this is one of the hardest maps, especially if you're not kind of playing in the current meta game and don't get to kind of all the practice that BPS and Locust have on this map, because they get really high quality practice on this map, like routinely.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of players around in the Scandinavian area, even just there, that are able to provide that practice for them. So a lot of work that they can do, and I guess that smaller community down in Australia, I mean, what do? They play against bots. I'm not sure what they can do.
Yeah, I'm so surprised how good Dev and GT are. It's awesome to see, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just love that.
They're trying to hold their own right now. I mean, a lot of frags have gone in the way of the Aeronauts guys, but they're trying to make something happen here and stem the bleeding a little bit. And they're starting to get a few frags, but have they let the game already get too far from them? Or is there something they can actually do?
It's really hard as well because you don't have the quad damage to go to as a resource, as a comeback mechanic. You know, an area you can maybe win, steal it away, maybe pick up a red and get a quad run happening, reset the other team. Like it's very hard to get that level of momentum on this map because there's no quad in 2-on-2 for this map. It's like a map specific for some maps that we would have power-ups on or off. And here it's off, and so you just have to be very good at all the small edges. Just again, like maximizing your damage, making sure that you're kind of depositioning your opponents, and when you get the LG, having such good LG aim that you don't miss a single cell. And so again, you know, you just keep your dominance, and you know, you keep. That's how you convert as well. Is really the LG work, as you can see from BPS and Locust. They're pretty on point with that.
Yeah, they've been doing relatively well at the moment. And Ben trying to go back to see if there's an item for him to pick up, and unfortunately he gets the bad news that there isn't. And it's going to be starved for items once again. I think we're just getting a team frag over, sorry, a telefrag, I believe that was, on the Australian side. Yeah,
the telefrags on this map is actually so funny because generally in QuakeWorld, people can just spawn instantly. So you actually always want to, in your brain, train yourself to never walk over over like tele exits or spawn points. And whenever you do, and because you trained your brain, you get this like horrible sense of impending doom, like suddenly flooding your body as this weird feeling because you're standing over a spawn and you can just immediately die at any point. It's kind of that's kind of how you train yourself in most cases.
Can someone spawn inside you, so to speak?
Yeah, if someone spawns on you, then you just immediately die. You get telefragged, and no matter what you have, you will die unless you've got the pentagram. But we don't have any pentagram power-ups on the 2-on-2, any team-on-2 map. That's in the TB5 at least, the big 5. And so, well, it's. I mean, we're seeing some frags here and there from Ven and Dirtbox, but generally speaking, you can just see that from the raw fighting capabilities of BPS and Locust are really showing right now.
And this pace, at least, is really working for them. They're able to inject that chaos into it. I don't think the Australians are able to really deal with at the moment, and they're not able, they haven't got anything to work on. After they get control of the middle, they seem to be a little bit stuck for ideas. They've got no way to perpetuate that control through the medium of extra items. So one of them having to take control in the middle, so the other has to go and get the red armor or the yellow, and it feels like as soon as only just one left in the middle, easy job then for Team Aeronauts.
And so, again, actually climbing back with some frags here. We get some potentially good engagements there. Nice back away from Ven there. Just a fadeaway rocket. Pick up the frag and recharging up with some red. Gets the LG into the upper area, but he hasn't got very much health right now. And you can see he's just shooting the spawns there and catches the teammate. And that happens. It happens a lot, and there's just nothing you can do about it. Luckily, he didn't have anything, I don't think.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad otherwise. Damage coming out. They're picking up some frags. I mean, Ven's actually had a pretty good run so far. He's going to die eventually, but he's got a decent string of frags, including on his teammate, but that's fine. Yeah,
I mean, your lifespan's always going to be short, but he did a great job. And those are the kinds of plays that you need to consistently be able to make.
Locust having a go at BPS.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. BPS has 40 cells to work with. And that can sometimes be the issue, that you'll have the LG, but maybe only 10 cells. So if BPS can just keep himself in position, and I mean, some armor would always be lovely, but if he keeps himself in position anyway, he should be able to use those. That said, he will die, and the pack will drop, and so his cells are available somewhere. Actually, I think he got it back again. So 18 cells left, and he's maybe thinking about going for the Mega. But even though it's not a very big run towards that Mega, if you decide to go for it, you actually keep yourself out of the fight for about 5 or 6 seconds, and because because the map's so small, that means your teammate is in the 2-on-1, just no matter what. So you've got to be careful about that.
I was talking to Jahar a little bit, and also the fact that it's at the bottom of the map. There's only one exit to it, and you've got to go over the lava. It seems to be. I mean, is there any point going for the Mega sometimes? Is it something you do when you just spawn, or would you actively go for it if things are well?
I don't think you'd never actively go for it. I don't think it's only if it's very situational, or if you're desperate, or if you're hiding, or if you just situational, very situational. You don't want to be out of the fight for that long. The red is a bit of a different story because you can kind of get back in the action a bit more quickly, and normally it's also because you've had the high ground, so you're probably in a spot where potentially you have the LG and the rockets, you can convert better with it.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's more important to just get the damage output going consistently, and the team that does more damage will just straight up win most of the time on this map.
We've got 20 seconds remaining. We've got pretty much double the score at the moment in favor of Team Aeronauts, so solid performance from them so far. Definitely, Australians getting some frags. They do occasionally get into the game, stringing a few together, but there's definitely too long where that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation there. But I think you would expect that. Locust and BPS very, very well practiced and routined on DM4. And Ven and Dirtbox definitely feeling the individual power of BPS and Locust. And we saw some great runs from both of them respectively. But I think any other map is going to be a lot easier for them to deal with against BPS and Locust.
None is so fast as that. Even Aerowalk doesn't compare to that pace quite. It's still fast, but not quite that fast. But I think it was Locust there with 81 frags during that game, so a decent amount. I think BPS though held the record for the team frags. I think he had 5. I think it was either BPS or Ven. I can't remember. But it looks like we're going to be having a Blood Run or ZTN next. Okay, I have to call it ZTN. Am I allowed to call it Blood Run?
You can call it Blood Run.
Is that okay?
Yes, you can.
All right, I'm happy about that for us Quake Livers. Let's move into the match right now. This is map number 2. If Aeronauts win this one, they will be going to play versus Team Brazil.
Do you know what the last map was called? Apart
DM4.
from DM4? The Bad Place.
All right.
It's called the Bad Place. Yeah, and I can fully empathize with
why. I can see why some people would definitely call that.
All right, so we're going to have the quad eliminated there. And this is going to be a much better map here for Ven and Dirtbox. All more tactics and team play that they're going to be able to effectively use. A bit of a break sometimes from the consistent intensity of what we just saw in DM4. And already it's going to be pretty close. It's about that next. It's always going to be about this second quad, basically. Because normally the first quad is going to go down straight away. You can see Ven has actually got a position on red, but it gets stolen by Locust. So I'm liking Aeronauts' chances on this quad.
It's completely pushed him out of that area of the map. Maybe Dirtbox should have been a bit more assertive in himself, but I guess he was trying to preserve his life a little bit longer. We're going to have about 5 seconds now or so until that next quad is going to spawn, I think. There we go. Here's the timer coming up at the top bottom left. Locust trying to get on it. Are we going to have the Aussies coming in? Ven's going to go down. Dirtbox on the side as well. Both of them by the teleporter exit above red, or below red.
Locust will just kill everyone with one rocket, including his teammate. And interestingly, they actually got there very late to the quad, and I think had the Aussies not gone for the red actually and tried to just get position or deny position, they would have actually maybe been able to steal it away or at least stop it from being taken. But you can see Locust, he's so stacked right now, just sitting in the middle of the map, spamming everywhere, using all the angles, all the splash damage to great effect. It'll run out actually at a very inopportune moment, but he will still be alive to collect the next red, hopefully for him.
Patrol 1 health left and eventually goes down, but look at all the frags that they managed to rack up during that quad. It was pretty even Stevens up until the quad spawned. 25-6. Now what the Australians have got to do is make sure that they do not let that get away from them. As you said, they got a little bit late to that last quad. Let's see if they can rectify that on the next spawn, which is already very soon. It's up in a couple of seconds, in fact. Locust is weak. He's going to be letting BPS take this one. No armor to his name, but the red is right in front of him, and that spells disaster for the Australians.
Yeah, this could get bad. Although it looks like they might be able to hide fairly effectively. BPS will have to attack into the quad room, and he's going to find them. They're going to spawn in front of him as well, so that's always very useful. But he is quite weak at this point, and he's looking for maybe something to keep him alive. And armor would be nice. Get some health in addition to that, and a bit of spam there from Ven is going to take him down, which is nice. Maybe they can string something together. These quads, though, they really need to be able to get some quad runs of their own.
But Locust as well has really stacked himself. I mean, I wonder if we're going to be switching over to the perspective of the Australians soon, if we can see them getting some of those resources collected themselves. There it is. We have got Ven, who managed to get himself the red, trying to get that frag on BPS, but is immediately chased by Locust, and not much he can do with that. Past another minute, and I think with the next 5 seconds now, we're going to get one more quad. And they're much earlier now. They're getting to that quad earlier, but they're not able to actually get their hands on it just yet. And oopsie.
Quad bore. There we go. Again, I explained the board terminology. Just means when you suicide, essentially, with rockets in this game. And yeah, it's a term that stuck because
I
of the
was
console
listening
message.
to you earlier.
You heard it?
Yeah. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, there you go, the QuakeWorld terminology 101.
I'm bored. Was that a play saying I'm bored?
Yes, yeah, he's bored. Your name is Bored with Life. So yeah, that's a really big deal actually. I mean, the fragging has slowed down slightly. There might be a way back in now. I mean, again, as long as they can just get a good situation on the quad and get a quad run going, this is very, very recoverable. This scoreline, only 33 frags. In any other game, 30 frags is a lot. In QuakeWorld, 30 frags is nothing. In 2-on-2 and 4-on-4 at least.
Once again, they've either got to get this next quad there, or they've got to stop it as soon as possible. The good damage on BPS, this may be going to be a chance for them, but Locust getting down dirty, and again, they clear the room. His armor's decent, there's some good damage on the side. But Locust is going to look for a way out safely and securely, and he's just going to pick up 2 immediately. Make it 3. No, I don't think I can count fast enough to tell all the frags that he's getting with this quad. That was 5 in quick succession. Oh my god, this is absolutely savage. Another happening. There's about 8 or 9, 10 frags with that quad.
I've run out of finger suit.
I think Dirtbox went AFK.
Oh my god, it's disgusting. This is great stuff there from Locust. And if you consider that he didn't have much health when he was doing that, and that's another part of the skill. I mean, you don't have much health, but you can correctly guess where to place all the spam rockets. And the splash damage is already so strong with those rockets. It can just block off all these choke points of spots where you might be attacked or people might spawn. And all of a sudden, you don't need necessarily that much health in that spot. So Locust played that perfectly. And you can see his execution is just phenomenal. And now the next, I mean, it feels like the last quarter run just ended.
Exactly.
We got another one.
There was no time for the team to actually prepare themselves and recover from the beating they just took down before.
Yeah,
and now BPS, he's going to be on it again. Does he have a stack anywhere? This red's not spawning for a while. With 20 health left, he is in a little bit of danger right now.
I just love it. I just love this carnage. Just the gibbs everywhere, just people exploding. Although BPS will go down, unfortunately for him. Oh, nice steal from Ben there onto the red armor. And
he's getting those frags though when he's got that red. I know he's being pushed back with the LG, which is pretty savage, but he's got to be picking up kills and making use of that red armor.
And Locust is just going straight in, and he's going to get denied there by Dirtbox, and the quad is soon to spawn once again. The next 15 seconds or so, we'll get the next quad, and already we get a setup here from Dirtbox and Ben, which is good. An early setup like this with armor, hopefully for them, they can get something going. Beautiful 2 versus 1 there. Another one is possible. Dirtbox is waiting outside the tally, though. Unfortunately, BPS is walking and kill everyone. That sucks. And it looks like he's going to be able to hold down this position as well and pick up the quad.
Oh, I thought for a second though he was just neglecting his teammate for a moment, but it all kind of worked out in the end. Yes, can he find some extra stacks? Looking for some spawn kills, seeing the kill messages and just attacking the closest spawn possible.
We're going to have some quad run compilations for the end of this, when we reach the end of this tournament.
Some of the quad runs already have been insane.
Yeah, that Locust one was so awesome.
I want to counter though. I want to counter on those quad runs. I think GT's had some absolutely mental runs as well. Watching him in the last game.
Yeah, there's nothing better as well than like seeing a perfect quad run on a map like this or Aeronauts, for example, where you can kind of see every spawn almost. That's just so glorious. I think Aeronauts might be my favorite map to have like if you can get a quad out on Aeronauts with some armor and you have an LG and a rocket, that's the dream right there.
BPS are going to be getting yet another quad. I don't think the Australians have had a single quad.
I don't think so either. It's we can check that in the stats later potentially, but yeah, it's been pretty rough for them. They've had they've had some good challenges, but the match, or rather the match here on Blood Run specifically, has been won or lost by those. Depending which perspective you are, has been won on the quads or lost by the lack of them if you are Dirtbox and Ven. So definitely great work here from Aeronauts, really showing that at this point in the tournament they're truly quite warmed up.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously they want to get themselves back in. They did get dropped down to the loser bracket, and they want to make sure that they're getting as deep as possible into this event. It was Rune that actually pushed them down into the loser bracket. And they can already smell the game that they're going to be having next. It is going to be versus Team Brazil. I don't think they've played up against each other yet.
One of the things I love too is just the fluidity of some of these like very, very high skill QuakeWorld players. You know, likes of Locust, he's been showing it to us. Again, another quad run is possible here. And you can see his bunny hopping around, just combining movement and dodging. With dodging and just shooting his opponents, using everything that he can to maximize his potential, his fragging potential. Oof. Nice mid-air though from Ven there to take him down, which is very much needed, but they are a lot of frags ahead. They're almost up to 100 ahead. They're getting there.
Yeah, that's a huge amount at this point. I wonder what the Australians' thoughts are going to be following that game. I don't know what they would be expecting. It is getting to that stage of the tournament where you've got the elite that are remaining. Yeah. But they've still made it pretty deep. I think they're getting top 6, quite possibly.
Yeah, I believe so, and that is definitely a good shout, but it's all about number 1, man.
It is all about number one. That's what Milton and Ricola are saying. Is that it's number 1 or nothing, essentially. They don't care about any other position in this tournament.
Milton needs some new climbing gear, so to win himself some QuakeCon monies. I mean, it's a really big prize pool for QuakeWorld.
It is massive. Yeah.
I mean, 25k up for grabs. I think 12k first place, second place 7k, something like that is fantastic. I don't think you would normally see prize pools like that. Mostly stuff is community funded in the world of Quake.
I wouldn't be complaining. I'd happily, I'll graciously accept that.
So here we go, more of just dragging that lightning gun all over the place.
Are we going to get to the 100 advantage? That's the question, I think, at the moment.
6 more.
Oh, no. Getting some resistance right now from the Australians. I don't think it is going to quite be happening with 5 seconds to go. But I think Team Aeronauts can be happy with their progress there. 82 kills from Locust. I think that's pretty much exactly what he had in DM4 as well. Yeah,
I'm going to scroll through the stats so you can see that Locust had a quad run of 12. So that's he got the Annihilator, which I guess is just the damage done. And
you see how many quads went over to...
Yeah, 10 for Aeronauts. You can see the number there just below their name on the stats there. You can see Paris quads 10 and 0 for the Aussies. So that's definitely
not even the first one where you can spawn right next to it, for example. They just, not a single one. And that definitely is going to be a massive factor in having almost a 100 frag deficit against them.
Yeah. Big damage done by Aeronauts there. So great series, I think. More or less the expected result. It's a shame that Ven and Dirtbox couldn't quite find like some comfort in some spots. Like maybe if only they had found, let's say, one really good engagement towards quad and really gotten that quad run going. That would have been amazing just to see like one good effort. But I mean, BPS and Locust, you can see the skill that they have, and that is hard to contend with. I think we will have an interview very shortly, though. So
I haven't seen much DM2 today. Have you? I think I saw you maybe
we casted one
DM2,
game,
but it doesn't seem to be very present after all the matches that we've casted together.
It's funny because it's one of the most popular 2-on-2 maps for people to play because it is a little less chaotic. It's more tactical. There's more team play. There's more stuff going on, especially with the top tier players. So I would expect to begin to see it more.
Are there some sort of are they removing it against certain teams that I know are really good? Is it something maybe to expect in the final stages of the tournament? Because I was maybe hoping to see a little bit more of that, and maybe even the Aussies would have preferred something like that, as in the chaotic nature of the maps that they played. Something a larger map maybe would have benefited them a bit more. Even though it's not like QuakeWorld ever becomes a slow game. But
no, of course, yeah. No, absolutely. But you can see big lulls on DM2. I agree with you completely. And from a logical perspective, I think we should hopefully see some more. But it does look like Jihad is ready